Welcome to Simply Business. I'm your host, Taylor Lee, and I'm so excited to have you here. As a business consultant, I've helped countless business owners simplify their strategies and achieve their goals, and now I'm here to bring you this expertise right to your ears. Each episode, I'll be sharing tips and strategies to help you achieve your business goals without the overwhelm. I will also be chatting with business owners and industry experts to share their stories, insights, and lessons they've learned along the way. Let's dive in and simplify your business. Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Simply Business. I'm so excited today because I am joined by the one and only Sir Cade. I was going to call you Cadey Wadey.
No one call me that.
Ever. It's a weird running joke in our friendship group with like baby names for everyone, and Cade's in on it now. But welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm here recording at Cade's studio, actually, at Zone Gym.
Yep. Good times.
The best.
Fun. Yeah.
We're going to jump straight into it. Now, the question I have for guests on guest episodes, and I've pre-warned you, you're walking into the boxing ring or the
BJJ.
BJJ.
Yep. That's
ring,
it.
if you will, because he's going to become a champion in 2025. What's the song you're walking into?
Mine is Man of the Year.
Okay. I need like I need a glimpse into it.
Let me play you a short snippet. The reason is, it's by Schoolboy Q. The reason is, this was when I was playing rugby at a high level. This was my song, like pre-game. I'll play it for this. Let's get to the chorus. That would be mine. See, you can see I prepared. I pulled that straight out of my phone. It was ready to go.
Bang.
Yeah, Man of the Year by Schoolboy Q. That would be my walking song.
Love it. Obsessed. I feel like it's such a great representation. I'm like, Schoolboy Q.
Yeah,
makes sense.
it's good.
Makes sense. So you're 24.
Yes.
And you have had a business, and I feel like any kind, like you're just like, oh yeah, so like you just have a business in that. Can I have the rundown? Like, what have we dabbled in business wise?
Yeah, it's been a long journey with a lot of businesses, but my first one, weirdly enough, was actually, I was 15. It was about a week before my 16th birthday, and I hosted an event. So I guess you could say the first business was full event hosting. I went and hired out a club, like an over 18 club, at 15 years old. I had like a fake ID, went and met with the owner of the venue, signed the venue for the night, went and found DJs, hired DJs for the night, went and got a graphic designer who was actually the DJ as well, so it helped, but designed like tickets. Over 18 event, I was 15 years old, and then I got promoters. So I got 4 head promoters that each had like 5 promoters working under them, and just distributed the tickets, and it was like 150 per ticket, and then I paid each promoter 30 of a ticket that they sold.
Yeah.
And then I was like, go sell tickets, I'm hosting this event. And they did. And I think I made like 35K profit in that one night.
Oh my God.
At 15 years old. I blew all of it in like a month. But that, I would say, was my first business. And like, that was where the entrepreneurial, per se, I think, streak came out. And like, from then I've just been like, go. And then got into like, post-rugby, into the coaching space a little. I think probably since I was 19 until now, I've like always been somewhat in the coaching space.
Yeah.
And then I did a supplement company. So I owned and ran a supplement company for 2, maybe 3 years. And we were in like a couple of the ASN stores, like a few gyms, like that did really well. So that was in the product space.
Yeah.
Online coaching, I helped with some app stuff with Clean Health, with like developing an app there. And then obviously the gym, studio, and recovery space as well. So
insane. By 24.
A few of them. Yeah. None of them have been crazy successful yet, but we're on the way. So yeah.
I think sometimes as well though, like experience is everything. And that's why I was so excited to get you on to actually share that, being that you have doubled in so many different areas with the biggest lessons that you've been able to extract. I'd love to know, with your business journey thus far, what has been like the biggest challenge that you've navigated, then the biggest lesson that's come from that challenge that's made you who you are and the business owner that you are today?
I would say a lot of my bigger businesses have involved partners. And so it's never been solely me. For arguably all of them, I was probably the front runner like of these businesses. The working in collaboration with people, but the expectations, like I feel like when you're a high achiever, especially in business, you almost just expect that everyone else is going to be the same. And it's never the case, you know? And like then people drop the ball on something, and like you may be dropping the ball on something as well, but you don't know, you kind of just get frustrated. So the biggest like challenge I had to navigate was starting to not manage a team, but just work better with my business partners. And it's like, okay, you need to communicate what your expectations are. And we actually had this conversation last week with the Zone Boys, is even communicating like what the best form of communication is to each person, and like how to hold them accountable to their tasks. Like some people respond better to something else. Like there's no, so I think the biggest lesson I learned is communication is big with business partners and or staff, but two, there's no like one size fits all, I think, for communication to those business partners and staff. It's the lesson was finding what works best to then give people tasks, but hold them accountable and have good communication to get the job done, if that makes sense.
And you can only be like so proactive as well. Like you can assume going in with business partners, okay, we're going to have this conversation. I'm sure if we just take the example of Zone, like you had conversations going into it of like, here's the expectations, here's that and the other, but curveballs come in, things don't happen. So it's being able to also be reactive in a really productive way.
Yeah, for sure. That would be the biggest one, I think, is like handling that. And there's been many expensive lessons along the way. And that's how I like to see it, like, is whenever I have quote unquote a failure or a loss in business, I think growing a business is a never ending journey. And whenever there's a loss or a roadblock or something, I'm just like, sweet, I just paid, man, I've lost 70 grand, but in one decision before. And I'm like, I just paid 70 grand for a really good lesson that I'm never going to make that mistake again. And like, that's how I like to kind of approach the mistakes or lessons, is I'm just like, there's no class on like how to run a great successful business. You're just paying with life experience, and like any failure is just you paying that lesson essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I like just met you right at the start of like you'd gotten the warehouse space, and it was like, oh, Cade's building a gym. Like how cool. So it was like I only kind of came in at that point in terms of when that we connected. But I would love to know something I feel like you're so good at is being able to leverage collaboration in business, because I think a lot of people see even a space like this, it's a lot of overheads, right? Being able to fit out an entire gym, podcast studio, wellness center, like the cash flow, and something you were so good at was just like the collaboration side of things. And I think for myself, I'm so poor at that, with being able to actually know that me collaborating with someone has benefit for them.
Yeah.
I would love you to speak about that a little bit more for someone that's, whether it's a gym that they're opening or a product-based business or even a service-based business. How do you best leverage collaboration, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, it is a hard one, to be fair. Like it's, as you said, something I pride myself on like quite high. Like I don't think there's many people that have connections, collaborations that I'm able to pull off. And it's actually something me and Bono have worked on for years, like literally not just now. Like I remember conversations like 3 years ago with Bono where we were like, we're going to have the best network in Australia. Like when someone needs something, like they're going to come to us kind of a thing. And like, so it wasn't like by mistake. Like I think that's what a lot of people is like, oh, like you got a great network. But like with myself, Bono, like it was purposeful. Like we actually 3 years ago thought we need to have the best network in Australia, and like it's going to pay off one day. And the biggest thing is, one, if you can become a valuable person, the connections benefit by having value in you, if that makes sense. So like, it's all good trying to form connections with people and like collaborations, but like, why would someone want to collaborate with you if you aren't of some form of value, if that makes sense? So I think you need to put enough work into yourself first that you are actually an asset to other people. So like that's step one, I think, is like making yourself and your skill sets and what you can offer valuable enough where other people see value in it. Yeah. And then number two, with everything we do, I always approach it in trying to give them something first. Yeah. So I work with a lot of big brands, and within Zone, some huge contracts and deals, right? So we work with Revel, Gym and Fitness, Force USA, Ghost, Define is probably the biggest collaboration that people have seen that we work with now. Working with all those brands, we gave them something first. Like on all my calls, on all my negotiations, on all the sales calls I'm with, I'm always like, look, this is what I can do for you. Do you see the value in that? This is what I need in return, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, yes. And I always just think to myself before having those conversations, before meeting people, if I was them, would I say yes to this? And it's like, give them so much value that it's almost stupid for them to say no. So yeah, it's kind of a give and a give relationship instead of a give and take relationship, I would say. Is like you give them something so valuable that they feel obligated to give you the same back. Like let's use Revel, for example, which is our saunas and our ice baths. Like I believe I've given them like such a good opportunity with us that AJ, who owns Revel, he'll literally call me and be like, hey, I'm sending you new ice baths next week.
Yeah.
And like he'll just swap out ours for upgraded ones. And it's like, we don't need that. But because we're both giving each other like such good value, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, making yourself a valuable person and then giving before you ask for anything in return.
Yeah, because I think often in business, I know even for myself, like you always kind of think, okay, just like my business and the customer, like that's the value exchange that you usually look at, but it's actually beyond that. And you can actually look at, if it's for retreat goodie bags or like whatever it is, how can you actually give that value?
Yeah, 100%.
In the networking side of things, for someone that's maybe like they're building their socials, they've got a business, what's like kind of the first step, even in your journey of being able to network, being able to connect with people? What's like the step one? Because I think everything you gave is so valuable for when people somewhat have the network of how they can then collaborate, but how to actually build the network. Yeah,
well, me and Marco spoke about this. I call it like laying seeds, essentially. And it's just like lay as many seeds as you can. Some of them are going to grow, right?
Yeah.
To put that into real life practical terms, it's like just meet as many people as you can and be a good person. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, Locker Room Gym, the owners of Locker Room Lachlan, if those that know Locker Room in Sydney, like major exclusive gym. I met him probably 3 or 4 years ago where I actually paid him like $250 to PT me for a session. And like, I had a sport and exercise science degree. Like, I didn't need a PT, but like, I knew that there would be value there. And I was happy to pay for his time to get that value, to meet him, to make that connection, to be a good person while I met him. And now 3 years down the line, he's flying to the Gold Coast to have dinner with me, with other massive business owners and giving me like help with Zone. So it's like, make as many connections as you can, lay as many seeds as you can, meet as many people as you can, like go out of your way, do things for free, fly to places, like travel around more, meet people, get into circles, into rooms that you want to be in the future to get there. But don't, it's so hard to say because I don't want these dickheads like running into these rooms and be like, hey, like meet me kind of a thing. It's like, don't force it. Like just be a good guy, but meet who you can and just be nice to them because you never know where it's going to go, and don't be scared to ask for help.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Even for myself, it's like you, especially as business owners, I feel like you can be like, no, but I want to create this for myself. But it's like, no, the value is actually in the people you have around you, which is so, so important.
Yeah, like I will call people and I'll be like, bro, I need some advice on this. Like, I need some help. Like, can you please help me on this? I'll help you with whatever you need. Like, people will more than often say yes. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is because I only moved to Australia 4 years ago. So that's the other thing is like people think I grew up with the network. Yeah, like that's not what happened. I got here and didn't know a single person.
You fully built it.
Yeah, so it's like I just went out of my way to go to gyms, to go to meetups, to go to events, to meet people. I bought tickets to things. I paid for personal training sessions. Like I paid for courses. Like I spent a lot of money, time and energy to meet people, but then nurtured those relationships to the point where I was valuable enough to give them value where they felt obligated to give it back.
Yeah, I love that. And I think as well, a lot of people just go to social media nowadays as well, which is, yes, important and plays such a big role. But equally, I think a lot of people are missing out, especially post-pandemic, like in person and actually connecting with people, taking people out for a coffee, like whatever it is, like it's so underrated.
Yeah. And it's also hard. Like if you don't have a big social following, like the other social people aren't really going to take you serious. Like if you send them a DM and you got like under 10K, like you could be the secret weapon, like in business, making money, blah, blah, blah. But like if they're going to look at your post and be like, oh, like who cares? You know what I mean? Like I think I told you yesterday, I was telling the other people, like when I opened Zone, like no one was taking me seriously because they were just like, who's this young kid? You know, like it's a joke. But same thing on socials. Like people kind of won't take you seriously until you have the rapport. So you got to somehow, as hard as it is, build that, whether it's in person, online, whatever you do. Like you just got to be seen as some form of value so that people see that, and then that'll open more opportunities for you down the line.
100%. I think even with that, like association is so huge, and people like, there's people that I'll see associating with someone. I'm like, I'm not associating with you because you associate with that person. And it sounds so harsh, but it's
true.
It's so true. Yeah, it's your circle. And yeah, even for me, because I'm like, my followers, I was literally just saying this to Tori before we recorded. I'm like, oh, I'm almost at 5K, but I'm like, the moment you hit that like 10K is that like, 100%. She's legit kind of thing. Yeah. And so who you associate with then creates that for you and builds that credibility.
To be fair though, like the connections and the network also help build that like social proof, if that makes sense. Like even though you may not even have 5K followers, like if someone goes onto your account and they see like Tori, Lily, Riley, me, like all these people follow you, they're like, oh, like clearly she's of value to these people, even if it's just being a good friend. Like they see the value, and then that translates into opening up more doors.
100%. It's exactly like you said, putting yourself in the rooms. That's literally what allowed me to even meet Tori, Riley. Like it's like you're putting yourself in those positions, whether it's the gym that you train at, whatever it is. Yeah. And so many people play victim to being like, I just can't meet people. It's like, what are you actively doing to actually create that? Yeah. There's so many networking events nowadays, even if they are a little bit cringe, like you never know where that can take you.
Yeah. Like just put yourself into different places.
Yeah.
To meet people, like go to different cafes, like go places, like the old school meeting people still works. Like it doesn't all have to be through replying to an Instagram story. Like go somewhere, meet them, do something, go to a run club, go to morning coffee, like something like that.
Yeah. I could foresee that people would be scared of rejection in this. And I feel like 100%. You're a person where you, like I think we're all human, and rejection, like innately as humans, we don't want to be rejected. But I think for you, you're very much like that, like shoot your shot, like give it a crack, see what happens. And I think people need to get comfortable with being told no more, myself included. But how's that been for you, being rejected? Or being okay with being rejected?
To be honest, it's gotten a lot better in the last 12 months. But like if you speak to those that have known me like before you knew me, like go speak to, I always refer to Bono because we've been friends for years, right? You go speak to Bono. If we go somewhere, like we go to a party, we go, even if we were going to like a big dinner or something, I will not introduce myself to anyone. I am like so shy and so scared. Like I get like I don't think I'm an introverted person, but like in situations like that, I go very introvert, and I'll go to things, will not introduce myself. I won't say hello to someone unless they come say hello to me. Like if I'm not introduced to someone, I'm like very scared to talk to them. Like I get like that in these situations, and only recently have I started to like come out of that and be like, I don't care what they're gonna say. And I think it comes from a place of insecurity, I believe. So it's like you scared that they're not gonna like you for something that you were insecure about. Yeah. So I might be like, I haven't made enough money yet. So that guy's he's not gonna care to speak to me because I haven't made enough money. The minute I flip it where I'm like, no, like I'm on my way to being very successful in business. Like now it's not the negative. I'm not thinking I haven't made enough money yet. Now I'm looking at the positive and be like, fuck, I'm this young guy. Like I'm on my way. Like I'm really trying hard. I'm good in business. The breakthrough's going to come and I'm going to get there. Now the script flips and it's like, he's going to want to talk to me because I'm this young guy that's up and coming. Not I'm this young guy that hasn't made money. It's I'm this young guy that's up and coming. And now once you flip that insecurity, you don't have any like internal thought process that is going to stop you from like entering these things. You know what I mean? And it's like, whenever someone's scared of rejection, it's really based on your own like downfall and insecurity. Like there's a reason why you're telling yourself they're not going to want to talk to me. They're going to say no. But like, if you're happy and confident in yourself, that's not going to scare you, because if they say no, you kind of like, oh, well, their loss. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is, and just move on.
It's so true. And I'm like the exact same. Like when I'm like around people that I know and I'm comfortable with, like I'm rogue, but it's like in rooms where I'm like, fuck, I don't know anyone. Like I'm the exact same where I close off. But I think it's that energy of when you see someone that does come into the room, they own the room in a really confident, not so like obnoxious way. It's like magnetic, and it's the thing that people want to be a part of. Yeah, sure. I love that. kind of coming into things around negotiation. This is something you're also really, really good at. And I feel like it's like a really healthy level of like being like audacious, and you're just like, no, like the way that you're just like, you own it. I'm like, oh my God. And it fucking works. And I'm like, no, that's just the price. And then you're just like, no, this is the thing. And then I got this plus this. I'm like, how do you do that? And I think it's a huge piece in business. I feel like a bit more on that product side of things. But what are like I'm going to say strategies for lack of a better word, but what is your approach to negotiation in business so that you do get the best deal?
See, I'm going to give away all my secrets here now when I negotiate in a couple of weeks, because I know brands I'm in chats with that will listen to this. But it honestly, everything that I've spoken about at the start of this podcast all ties into it. Like I never think anything in business or person or anything is like isolated. Like it all feeds from everything else, right? So number one, I think the expensive lessons that I learned along the way taught me a lot, because say I was going to a supplement company, right? A supplement store, and I was trying to get my product into the sub store.
Yeah.
They weren't giving me the price that I wanted or something like that. I lost money, right? But what I got was I saw how the other side negotiated with me. So I saw people higher in business and further along than me, that was a big corporation, how they treated me as the person approaching them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I saw what they said, the conversations. Yes, I lost money, but I learned how they treated me. And I think other people would be in that situation. They would have lost money, but they didn't look at it from the other perspective of, oh, how did they actually negotiate with me? That's like the first step. And use that across the years of everything I've done, like brand deals, like photo shoots. Like I've always kind of looked at it as like, okay, what did they do? What did they say to me? Like, how did they treat this situation? And then step two, I think, is the value proposition. So it's like, you got to make sure you know what the value that you are bringing in and have done your research too. So I think that's probably one of my strong points is before I go into anything, I do a fuck ton of research to make sure I'm clued up. Like, for instance, let's use Define. Like I negotiated the Define deal and got us double what we initially wanted. I knew everything about the owner before I went in. And it was to the point of like me calling his athletes that I was like kind of close with. I'm like, hey, tell me about this guy. What are his likes? What is this like? What's he like as a person? What's it like? Doing research, almost like it's I don't want to use the word target, but like a job.
Almost like a job interview kind of thing,
you going into it, and it's like I do a lot of research, and then when you get into it, you do need to negotiate the person. Like, it's all good and well negotiating the deal, but it's like you're not going to get the deal if the person thinks you're a dickhead. But like, if the person likes you, they're going to be a lot more lenient to what you're asking or feel like they need to look after you. So I think it's learning lessons from how other people treat you to knowing your value and what you want, but like being very clear on what you want to get, being very clear on what you want to offer, and then having done your research on the person, knowing how they act, what they like, what they don't like, what their morals are in business too. Because like this is the other thing. I'm in a negotiation at the moment. I'm trying to know how to say this without giving too much away. But basically, it's like the one company has a lot to offer monetary-wise. The other has a lot to offer in like things to do, if that makes sense. Like events to host, collaborations, like stuff like that. And I know that the third person in the deal, what they want, they don't care about money because they have a lot of money. But they care about like getting their name out there and doing stuff. So it's like when you go into these negotiations, don't even speak about the money. It doesn't matter. Like speak about the events, the collaborations, like what they can do and what they can benefit from it. So it's like the more you know the person really well, you can negotiate to their morals, what they want, and like pushing it that way. It's almost like a sales call. It's literally almost like a sales call. I was literally about to say that, like you were talking to me yesterday about sales calls. 100%. It's like a sales call. Like when you're getting on a sales call with a client, you find their pain points, and then if they think they are perfect with their nutrition, if I have a client come to me and they say they're perfect with their nutrition, I'm not even going to talk about the nutritional help that I can give them. I'm only going to talk about the part that they struggle with. Same thing with the business negotiation. Find what they are looking for and just negotiate that as your strong point. And I think the reason mine do so well is because I will take risks a lot. And like sometimes, for instance, Define Deal, they ask for stuff that I hadn't even thought about doing. And on the call, without even blinking, I was like, yep, done. Like, I can do it. And it's like, I had no fucking idea how I was going to make it work.
Yeah.
But I was like, yep, no worries, I can do that. And then just make it work afterwards. So, yeah, I think all of those tied together and then a fuck ton of practice. Like, I've had a fuck ton of no's said to me in my life. And the more no's I've had, the better I've gotten on the next call. And then just go from there. But it's like, I think standing your ground is a big one too. Like, a lot of people will just take the deal because they need to take the deal.
Yeah.
And like, I had someone at Zone will come speak to me and like they've been offered a deal and they've asked me for help and like how to negotiate it. I actually had the conversation with him on Friday and I was like, go into the call, ask for this. If they don't offer you minimum this, just say, sweet, thanks for your time. Like, this isn't going to work, and walk away. Like, don't feel like you have to say yes because the opportunity is there. Like, know your value. Be willing to say no, stand your ground. If it's not good enough, like, just say goodbye. Like, don't feel like you have to reach a conclusion. Like, you have to find an even whatever. Like, just, if it's not good enough, just say no and move on. Something else will come down the line. And I think once you get to that mindset, it becomes so much easier because now you don't feel obligated to say yes to deals. You can just be like, no, like, it's not good enough.
Yeah. And it's such a people game. Like, it's exactly like you said. I love you said the research part. My dad would be like, yes, Cade, because dad is so like that. And he's like, do your research. 100%. Like, you have to understand exactly what levers you can pull, both emotionally and tangibly. Same with sales calls. Like, it's understanding the human psych side of things from a sales perspective. I was listening to a podcast the other day with, her name's Raquel. I think I always butcher how she how her name is, but she has like the Who is Elijah perfume, and she was saying there was like a deal with Boots in the UK, which is like kind of like our Priceline, and she was saying how they said no to her and that they reached out and was like no's, and then like a few days later, her and her social media girl flew over to the UK outside of a Boots with like 500 samples and was just like giving it away and like full captured their attention. I'm like, it's even that too. Like, just because you've been told no doesn't mean it's actually a no, where we take things so personally in business, especially when you're the front face of the business. It can feel personal, but it's like, it's such a thing as well to be driven to like get creative too.
Yeah, 100%. Like Marco at Papa Macros, right? He's one of my business partners and he had good friends. He had a big deal that he was trying to get with, I think it's been announced. Yeah, he did a deal with Adam with evidence-based training, right? So he's done a collab, Papa Macros, evidence-based training. He knew that I knew Adam, so he, number one, leveraged on me and was like, can you give me his number? Like, can you call him? Can you put in some good words? Blah, blah. So I like tried a little bit of that. But Marco flew here and hand delivered the meals to Adam's house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what got you the deal. Like, he would have had hundreds of meal prep companies working, like kind of reaching out, probably some offering a better deal than what you're offering.
Yeah.
But you flew here, you showed him that you're the face of the business, you care, you're going to show him how it's done, dropped it off at his house in person, like from Sydney, and then flew back. Like, that, he probably wouldn't have said yes if you didn't do that. And that's what you said, like flying there and doing something, like show that you care.
Yeah.
And that's going to make a big difference too. Like, don't just chase the money. I think that's the biggest issue with a lot of people, is just trying to chase the money.
Yeah. And just literally being okay with being different and like doing things differently, because that's truly what makes you stand out when it comes to launches, like, or whatever it might be. And that's what, even with my launch of it's a online program, like, and then I was like, all right, like all of my friends, they've got good followers, they're people that I would like to associate with, like in terms of their audiences. So I was like, cool, put on a lunch, put on it, like make a whole thing of it. And it's like, I didn't have, and I still don't have massive budgets for things. Of course, I would love to do bigger things, but it's like, how can you be resourceful as well, which is something that you're really good at in business.
Yeah, I think leaning on I've only recently started doing this, but like I built this huge network and connections, and I've got like so many phone numbers in my phone that I could call that most people would want. And it's like, okay, but now actually use it. Like you built that, like don't be afraid to use it. And like you just said, like when you've got all these people and their networks and whatever, like don't be afraid to ask for help, and like, you know what I mean? And if they want something in return, like maybe it's something you can give. Like, so using the networks and the people you know and everything like that. That's literally what Zone is built upon. Yeah. Like I've literally built Zone on my network. Like that's it. That is what is running this business right now.
Literally.
Is that.
Literally. Yeah, it's so important. I'm like literally thinking about that because there's people I want to invite on my podcast for the second half of the year that are a bit bigger in Sydney and things like that. I'm like, it's not going to be an email or a DM that gets
No
that.
way.
And I'm like, send a PR pack, make it cool, like whatever it is, like how can you like get in front of mind of whoever it is.
But it's the same thing as what I was saying before, like what value can you give that person? So like same with my podcast, like there's some big names. I've gotten big names on already, but there's other people I want.
Yeah.
I know that they want proof of concept in the business industry. Yeah. So like I'll reach out and say, look, all we will talk about is your business and I will give you content to post.
Yeah.
Like I'll literally give you free advertising for your business. Yeah. Just sit down with me for an hour. Yeah. And it's like that's when if you reach out to someone in that way, instead of being like, hey, can I interview on your podcast? I really like your stuff. Yeah. It's like, hey, sit with me for an hour. I will promote your business. I will only talk about your business and I will send you videos that you can post about how great your business is. Yeah. And it's like, why would anyone say no to that? Yeah. Like, and that's, I think, the networking side of things is like, how much can you give first? And then you could have them on a second episode where it's more of a casual conversation because you've shown them that you are willing to give them value first. Yeah.
It's the value proposition as well. And that kind of ties me into my next question for you, especially even for people that are potentially in the online space. I know even like, if we think online fitness coach is a whole thing around like pricing but this person's price is that thing, I think a lot of people fail to see the actual value that they can give.
Yeah, Lily is with that issue. Me and Lily fight all the time because I'm like, can you just fucking up your prices and get more clients?
Literally. But yeah, how even taking Lil as an example, like people being able to see their value, especially when that we tied into like the negotiation side of things, like really seeing their value. Because I know even I'm one for being like, oh, fuck, like, is that my value? Like you can kind of go into questioning. I think as females, we tend to do it a bit more than men. But what's the advice for someone listening that is in business, whether it's raising their prices, they're going into a deal for something, what's your advice around like actually seeing your value if there is also a level of like numbers and you're like, no, like I know this is physically the value?
I think the first step is there is no benefit to being the cheapest price. People think there is. There's literally in a service-based business, like what most of us are now, even a product-based business, there's zero benefit to being the cheapest. Yeah. Like what is the point? Because it's just going to be a race to the bottom. Because someone's going to then come in cheaper than you and you're just going to go try cheaper. There's no benefit than being the cheapest. There's a lot more benefit to being the most premium. Yeah. Right? And I think people need to realize the price point is a reflection of the quality of the service or the product, but it is also the price point is going to make your quality or service better. So for instance, say I'm coaching someone, right? Let's just use whole numbers. So I'm going to say I'm charging 100. Yeah, cool. The service is going to be great. I'm charging 100 a week. If for some reason I was like, fuck, I'm going to just try and charge this next client 200 a week, right? He says, yes, I've doubled my rate for that guy. I promise you, I'm going to coach that guy 10 times better than what I'm going to coach the guy that's paying 100 a week. Yep. Although I'm probably giving both of them the same service, the same program, the same meal plan, I'm going to put a shit ton more effort into the guy that's paying me double because I'm like, no, I need to prove my worth. You know what I mean? Like I don't want him to leave. So it's like by you valuing yourself higher and upping your prices, you will actually give a better service to people. Yeah. And by giving a better service to people, your business is going to have a higher customer lifetime. You're going to have higher retention rates. You're going to have a lower drop-off rate. And you're probably going to get more clients through word of mouth, through results because you're giving a better service. Yeah. And I think that's step one is like there's no benefits being the cheapest. Yeah. There's a massive benefits being the highest price, the most exclusive. Customers will see more value the higher price you are. You will give more value the higher price you are. And then it's also the time, which I'm sure you've thought about, is the time to money equation, right? Yeah. So I don't know the exact numbers. I'm going to try to do this maths right now on the podcast. Hopefully it works out well.
Don't come at me if I get it wrong.
So like say you're charging 100 a week, right? Yeah. And let's just say you have 10 clients. It's 1,000. I don't need to use my calculator for that, right? That's $1,000 a week, right? If you now tell everyone, hey, I want to up my rates to 150 a week instead of 100. You tell all your clients that you had 10 clients, right? You only need 6.5 is the number clients paying that rate. So let's just round it to 6, paying that rate to make the same amount of money. So you will lose 40% of your workload, but make the same amount of money as what you were making before. So yes, maybe you aren't making more money, but you've just added $50 to your price. You've lost 40% of your workload, but are making the exact same amount of money. Why would you not want to do that? And now you just need to add one more client and you are making more money with 30 to 40% less work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like that's I think where people, they need to look at it more from a business side of things and an actual numbers game than just what should I set my price at? It's like, cool, you've done that. And I promise you, go up your rates and you will see how quickly your clients will say yes to it if your product is good.
Yeah.
I've upped my rates. I used to charge $50 a week for online coaching. I now charge triple that.
Yeah.
And I have some of my same clients that were paying me $50. I have way more clients than I had back then. Yes, I've grown, but like people are going to say yes. And the minute you up your rates and people say yes to that increase and you see that you're doing less work and making the same amount of money, it's addicting and you're going to struggle to stop upping your rates every time.
Yeah.
Like that's I think some of the things is like you got to see your value, but then also look at it from a numbers and business perspective.
Yeah, 100%. I was literally explaining that to a client the other day and I'm like, especially in the fitness coaching space, I find like there's so much ego in like, I've got 75 clients. And it's like, that's not the flex. Like if you're charging 75 clients $10 a week, and that's a huge gross exaggeration, but it doesn't make sense.
100%.
But I can also see the flip side of like two different directions, especially for people, and I know you've even posted content around this, that are somewhat fresh to the fitness coaching space, right? And it's a little bit of entitlement too.
Yeah.
What's the thing for you that contributes to going, okay, it actually makes sense for me to raise my prices? I know, even taking Lil as the example, there's a shit ton of demand, right? Like demand's something you have to consider, but what are the other things you consider, especially from like qualifications, experience, etc.?
Yeah. I think proof of concept is a big one, number one.
Yeah.
But first of all, I think everyone needs to give their service for free when they start to prove that it works.
Yeah.
Like you're a retard if you come out and it's your first client that you want to get and you come out and you say, hey, $150 a week for online coaching. Like, why would someone go to you over coming to someone like me or another coach that's got 5-6 years in the industry with a shit ton of proven track record?
Yeah.
For a similar price. Like, so you need to be smart with it. Like I coach for free for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, do that, prove it. So I think proof of concept that it works is like coach your friends, coach your family, like coach people for free, post it, give people free programs, free training advice, but do a really, really good job. So do a really good job to prove that you can actually get people to their goals. And I think once you've proven that 10 times over, so it's like you come to me, I want to lose weight. You help them lose weight. Next person, I want to gain muscle. You've helped them gain muscle. Next person, I want to get fit. You've helped them get fit. They want to lose weight. You've made them lose weight. You've proven that 10 times over. Now you can sit back and be like, okay, I actually know what the fuck I'm doing.
You see the value.
Like I can help people. Like I can give them their goals. This is valuable. I'm getting a lot of inquiries. Now I'm going to start charging. Now it's like, cool, up your rates. Set the target of 20 people, right? Be like, cool, you're working for free. Now you're going to charge $50 a week and you want to hit 20 people. That's your cap. Charge $50 a week. The minute you hit 20 people, okay, my prices are going up to 80 a week.
Yeah.
Now, be like, cool, I always, this is my personal preference, like to stay loyal to my original customers. So I wouldn't up their rates, like those first 20. Then be like, okay, I want to get to 30 at this new rate of 80 a week. Let me see if I can do that. Advertise your new rate. If you get 10 clients that are happy to pay you 80 a week and you get to the 30, like once again, you've now proven that the results are working, but you've also proven that there's demand and you've hit your foreseeable target, which needs to be within reason. Get to 30 and be like, cool, I'm going to 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like when people drop off, because you will have people drop off, the new ones that want to come on, they have to join at the new rate.
Yeah.
And eventually all the originals have dropped off and you've now got 30 people paying 100.
Yeah.
And you're now making $3,000 instead of 800.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, is like proving your value. Once you've proved your value, prove that there's demand actually meet and like service that demand at first at a lower price point. And as you hit these certain milestones and the demand is coming in, you can then start upping the price.
Yeah. And I even had an experience in my business journey where I was given not so great business advice, where it was just like, charge your worth, and no, but no, you can charge this. And it was like, I experienced such deep levels of imposter syndrome, for lack of a better word, but it was like, because I didn't actually feel, and people could say it was like a worthiness thing. It's like, it's not about worthiness. It literally didn't make sense. I was like, I don't feel like I've built to this point. Where now I'm at a stage in business where I'm like, I'm booked out 4 or 5 months in advance. So now it actually makes sense. And there's also strategic things you can do structuring wise to then service people to in another way. I'm like, just raising your prices too isn't the only, it's still important, but it's not the only method to scale either.
100%. Yeah. So I think it's like there has to be a value trade-off. Like if I fucking went tomorrow and I was like, hey, it's actually $5,000 a week for my coaching, everyone's gonna be like, get fucked. Like, you're a retard. But I mean, someone would probably do it. But
they probably would be.
You need to, I think it's your value, prove your results, the demand is coming in.
Yeah.
And then it's just scaling from there. But to be honest, that is probably one of the, you probably see it in your business, probably one of the hardest conversations that coaches have is like, I don't know what to charge.
Yeah.
Like, how do I price myself?
Yeah.
And
if you can just, that's what I say to clients, I'm like, you can always raise your prices.
That's it.
Rather than like picking, like, pick something you were so like comfortable with selling and you're like, I'm going onto this call feeling so confident. I can sell you at $20 a week. If that's what feels good to start and you sign 2 people on that, cool. You've got, and then you've got that proof that you can grow from there. I think the other point as well that I'd love to touch on, being that you're in the fitness coaching industry and I have a lot of people in the coaching industry listening to this, like your unique value proposition, because what I say to a lot of my clients, they'll come in and maybe they've started, they're selling a passive program or it's an app. And something that always smacks me in the face when that I'm like having a call with them, I'm like, okay, well, what sets you apart from someone joining evidence-based training's 8-week challenge where there's a $20,000 prize up for grabs? There's so much social proof. There's like, that's literally what you're competing with, and you're trying to charge more for your challenge. And who are you again? Like in the most loving way possible. So from your journey as a fitness coach and building your brand, what's been the thing that's allowed you to create such demand for your coaching, be able to scale and grow, that's positioned you as different to someone in the industry?
Yeah. A couple things. One is, like I said, proof of concept and like your results and your education and everything. So if you take out the portion of people that don't actually know what the fuck they're doing and like someone actually educated and can actually help you, now it's a lot smaller bracket than what you're competing with. And I think when it gets to that level, the next separation is when businesses are actually too big, like Adam's, there isn't that one-on-one care factor. You're not working with the person individually, right? You're working with the team and they don't actually give a shit about you, just a number, right? So that's the next separation, is like you would then sell people that's your value. It's like, hey, I actually care about you. I'm really invested into your journey. And I think be vulnerable with them. Be like, hey, look, you're right. I'm not as big as Adam. I can't give you $20,000 at the end of this challenge. But what I can give you is if you want to call me on a Saturday morning because you're struggling with something, I'm going to answer the phone. And when you need a program adjustment at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night because you're going away tomorrow morning for work last minute, you send me a message and I'm going to stay up doing that program. Like I'm here, I'm hands-on, I care about you, I care about the journey. The only reason I can do that is because I'm not as big as these other guys. So I think that's the next separation, right? Is like separating and being fully aware and vulnerable of where you are in comparison to the big players in the industry, right? So like I'll say that, like sorry Adam, but like I had guys from Adam's team leave him last week and come join my coaching. And that was the reason. It's like, not that the coaching wasn't good. It's just like they wanted a more care factor, like hands-on approach. And that's what I can offer. Now you've separated yourself from the people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. You've separated from yourself to the very big people that are way too out of reach that you can't compete with monetary and team-wise. Now you're in like the kind of chunk of what most people are is like, one-on-one coaching, like big-ish companies, 10 to 20 grand months. Like that's now who you're competing with. At that level, it becomes a personal brand thing. And I think now it's like, okay, who do you like resonate with as a person, as a coach, and that's why you want to work with them. The clients that Lily gets are going to be very different to the clients that I get. We offer the same service. She asked me for help with some of my stuff. I ask her for help with some of my stuff. Like that's that's just how it works. Like we both offering training programs, we both offering weekly check-ins, we both offering nutrition plans, we both offering form reviews, we both offering 7-day messaging. Like there is, if you had to put those services next to each other, there isn't a massive difference. Yes, there's probably a difference in experience and qualifications, but not that much that it matters. The main separation at that point is going to be personality, your personal brand, and how you operate as a business. So I think then it's just you got to find your niche, who you want to work with, and you really knuckle down on that niche and that target market and brand yourself well enough that the avatar you've set out is attracted to work with you.
Yeah. It's so important. This is where, like, when I've had fitness coach, like, not many clients do it anymore, but like they'll go to market, and this is something I haven't seen you or Lil do in forever. It might be highlighted on a highlight, but like no one cares about like the nutrition thing and that thing. Like, yes, once they're at the point of conversion, it's going to be important to go, okay, what's included in the price? But that's where the people go wrong. They try and market with all of these inclusions. It's so like, dumb. That's not what people care about. They care about your values, your perspective, like your opinionated content about you shouldn't be doing this in the gym. You should be doing this. Like, that's going to be the thing that either magnetizes someone to you or fully repels you.
Exactly. And it's like, what I tell coaches, I'm like, be yourself. Don't try to be fake, because the good thing is the people you push away, you didn't want to work with them anyway. Like, who cares? Like, cool. You'll bring the clients that you want to work with. Like, you're right. Like, if you go on my stuff, I don't even think I have a list of what my coaching includes. Like, you will not find it anywhere. Maybe there's a highlight from 3 years ago when I didn't know what I was doing. But like, there's not going to be a list of weekly check-ins, this and this and this. There's not going to be a list of pricing. Like, it's not there. All you will know is who I am as Cade, and that I coach people and I get them in really good shape. That's what you got to know. The rest you'll find out when we get on a call and you can ask the questions. And I think that's it, is people are focusing on the small stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. You need to draw people in, then you convert them.
It's all like brand first, connection first. Like, that's what matters, so that
big time.
Lil the other day could post a link and it's like 70 inquiries and you're like,
she needs to act quick on those, but that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, exactly. Like, she's, her following, and like Tori, all of them, raw reality, like their following is so warm and bought in that it's like anything you offer, they're there. They're ready to buy it. And it's like, that's because they spend so much time building a personal brand. Like, it's,
and giving so much free value, exactly like you said at the start.
That's it. So I think those are some of the biggest factors in terms of like how to beat your competitors and get to a good place, is offer value, but also know where you should be offering your value.
And it's even that research element as well that you gave with like the negotiations, like they do both go hand in hand. If like, okay, well, and again, I do this with clients and it's like, who are your competitors? I don't know. Like, what do you mean you don't know who your competitors are? I'm like, I literally track my competitors, their social content, like everything that they're doing. So I'm always ahead of the curve. So I'm like, no, they're speaking to this, and you can create strategic content to position yourself even further away from the crowd as well.
100%. And it's just building your own value, building your own like persona, personality, social proof that then people buy into, and that's what they want to work with. I can't tell you how many of my clients message me that are actually business owners themselves, and it's almost like that's become my niche. It's like people that want to be really fit and healthy, want to get into the best shape of their life, want to prep, want to do whatever, but like they're also ambitious as people. Like, it seems like that's the crowd I've attracted, is just ambitious people. Like, it's just like, sweet, let's just get after it.
And it's so cool when you build off personal brand, because it can evolve with you then too, because it's like, the evolution for you. Yes, you've always been into business and you've had like your coaching business, but you know, coming into Zone. And I remember there was one that, it's, as you say, that one that stuck out to me of a client transformation. You post transformations and client results regularly, but it was someone in like, I think a 9-to-5, so in corporate, but very busy, like has a lot of social events. And I'm like, when you were speaking about how that your coaching could cater to that person, I'm like, they're the problems I experience, so I can relate to it. That's what sells me, not that you had 9-to-5 messaging access.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's it. Like, I think that was my client, Ethan. He's like a lawyer and has a partner, and he's always going on like dates and business events and like stuff like that. Like, it's that's it, is you cater to the person, and like, you're going to attract the people you want to work with. So I think that's the biggest part.
Love it. That was such a valuable episode. I'm like, thank you so much for taking the time out. I'm like, you've given so much value. Where can everyone find you, all of the businesses, Zone, if they want to record here? Plug it all.
Zone Gym _ I think it is. I should know that. Zone Gym _ on Instagram for anything Zone. Podcast studio, whatever you need. Mine, Cade Robertson X on Instagram, and that's basically all you really need to know.
The business playbook.
Yes, my podcast as well is the Business Playbook. I just released my 3rd episode yesterday, I think. So all things business chats, very similar to, I guess, your podcast, just in the different industry and network is that. So yeah, those are the 3 things.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Catch you guys in the next episode.
It's fun.
And that wraps up another episode of Simply Business. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. If that you enjoyed today's conversation, please feel free to share it onto your socials and tag me. I love seeing all of your shares and feedback on the episode. If that you're feeling extra generous, please feel free to follow me over on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Taylor Lee Consulting. And a like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast would be greatly appreciated. I'll catch you in the next episode.